To accept yourself is one of the greatest things that you can learn. So many times when we go throughout our day, especially with big stuff, when it comes to relationships, sex, our goals, our passion, what we really express ourselves in life, we so many times we speak with this idea of should've or could've or what we're supposed to. We speak with our guilt, our judgment, and not with our true expression. I wanted to tell you a story really quickly about my journey with this because it came about through sex and relationships, and that's something that, God, I focused on in so many different ways. But we were on one of our men's group calls last night, and there was a young man. He's in his early 20s, he's talking about his acceptance of self, who he is, his body, his mind, how he sees the world, and, the directions that he's moving in and how difficult it can be, to truly accept who he is, and when it's so easy to run from who you are and be something else and try different things that, are just so readily available to us. If we feel uneasy for a moment, we can find a distraction and find something else. And we were talking about this idea of self-acceptance. And see, for me, this was pivotal. One of the greatest things in my life, one of the greatest accomplishments is my relationship. And that's first and foremost my relationship with me, the family that I've built with Maria, our kids, and my relationship with all the people in my life. It's an amazing thing, and it's a beautiful thing. But I'm 38 now. When I was 32 or 33, I remember going through an inventory with my friend. And a lot of this had to do with my relationships and how I had handled them poorly. And of course, I had had good relationships. I'd had great sexual relationships, great business relationships, but I had also had some bad ones. And see, everything around me in my life, when I looked at those different bad ones, when you go through an inventory like this, you dig up a lot of dirt, it's very easy to come up with the assumption like, I am this horrible person. Society, other people's eyes, the proof of what I've done, the harm I've caused would prove that I am incapable of connecting. I'm incapable of an expression. I'm better off without it. And I remember my friend saying to me, and he said this, and I think this is so important about being a part of a men's group and uniting and interacting with people, and partially why I'm branching out, to you with this message, because concepts are great, but experience is what's going to really teach you, the experience with those concepts. And he said to me, man, why don't you just accept the fact that you can't do it? That you're a bad dude, that you're a piece of shit, that everything that you just said, because it's kind of like you're arguing with yourself right now. You're speaking from your guilt. You're speaking from your should've. You're speaking from other people's opinions or what you think they think of you. And you've gotten in this massive war and you can't even see it. Why don't you just accept, man, you're a piece of shit. If you fall in love with a woman, which you're very good at doing, it ends up bad. If you build a relationship with somebody, if you build a connection business-wise, friendship-wise, that you take the easier, softer way and fuck up. And instead of taking actions against those things like, certain humanitarian work or trying to clean up your mess, why don't you just accept that that's you and see what happens? And I was like, man, that's terrifying. I don't want to do that. And he said, no, because, I haven't had the relationships that you have. I haven't lived the life that you had. But here's what I have done. Is with all the things that fucked with me, all those things that were held down by guilt, held down by self-judgment, I couldn't even see them. And once I accepted that possibly that might be me, and I can't guarantee this will work for you, but it evolved into something else and I became the man who I am. And I'll tell you what, man, it wasn't but a couple months later, because these sorts of massive changes in your life don't happen overnight. They happen slowly over time. There's no quick fixes, guys. You want to get into the journey of being the best possible you, it's an everyday action. And man, what happened was I started to realize, wow, there was a relief from it, of being the guy that just kind of accepted those things. That didn't give me a green light to be an asshole to everybody, but it gave me the green light to not have to beat myself up, to not have to run from it, to not have to speak from my guilt, and learn to finally speak from who I was. If I wanted, if I hated, if I didn't like these things, if I was confused, I could be it, and I would no longer have to run from it. It all revolves around this beautiful, beautiful expression of authenticity that we preach so much. But man, I'll tell you this, in order for me to know what being a man is, being a man in love, being a man with commitment, being a man of expression, being a man of integrity, of all these different things that we pursue, I had to be willing to look at myself and accept myself for who I was. Stop speaking from your guilt. Stop speaking from your judgment of others and yourself, and start speaking from the pure reality that is you. Gentlemen, if you want to join in on this discussion, sure, of course, you could leave a comment and all those different things, but join our men's group. Man, we meet multiple times a week, internationally. It's called Austin Men's Development, but you can live anywhere in the world, and plug into this journey in personal excellence that we're all on. Stop doing it alone and start doing it as a force of nature. All right, talk to you guys soon.